It was certainly the talk of the NFL in the weeks that came after that loss the Saints took in the NFC Championship game, the no call that is. That flagrant pass interference by Nickell Robey-Coleman on Tommylee Lewis that kept the Rams in that game and on their way to a win. There was a huge anti-Super Bowl parade in New Orleans to protest. The hatred for Roger Goodell led to an all-out trolling attack from the Saints and their fans. But it wasn't limited to the Saints and their fans. The talk about making changes to the rules on challenges, expanding them to cover pass interference calls and no calls, blared so loud that it nearly drowned out the lead up to the worst Super Bowl ever. As the grim hand of karma swiped the smiles from the faces of the Rams and their 10 fans in Los Angeles and 2 still in St. Louis, the talk kept going as the NFL scouting combine fast approached. This would be the only event prior to the NFL owners meeting where all of the owners would be together and available to give voice to the concerns they have. Surely their concerns would match their customers' fans. The anger would be palpable, the outrage complete. So as various news outlets caught up with the owners at the Combine in Indianapolis, possibly gathered for an impromptu money bath or a chance to do shots of the tears of peasants, their responses were a bit surprising. From the owners who spoke to the press there was a resounding meh. John Mara, owner of the once proud New York Giants, was talking about being skeptical of anything being done on the matter at all. And, frankly, after reading a lot of the other comments from owners, he seemed downright optimistic in hindsight. Next, it's not about judgment calls. Wrong question. Page 2 EAST Rutherford, NJ, December 16, Field Judge Tom Hill. Photo by Stephen Ryan, Getty Images. The NFL owners don't want to do anything to make judgment calls reviewable. They were worried about too many calls being reviewed. But somehow this all turned from a chance to fix a real issue to a question about reviewing judgment calls. That's the wrong question in the first place. The problem is with officiating. And not just with the quality of the officiating, though that has been an issue too. The problem is in the way NFL games are officiated in the first place. In a time when technology is getting increasingly cheap and when public sentiment is strongly behind a change, there's no reason that NFL games should rely so heavily on officials on the ground. Unless you have an official in the game to watch every player or some way of placing the officials where they can always have a good view of the action, the system will be flawed. But wait, maybe there is a way the officials could be better placed to see the action. What if NFL teams were required to build a raised structure around the field? Possibly. Atop these structures they would have to put an enclosed area where NFL employees would be able to view the game both with the naked eye from their improved vantage point, or by looking at boxes that were able, somehow, to take the images on the field and relay them by magic or some kind of science stuff, to be watched by these officials. Next, fixing the issue is far too easy to ignore. Page 3 DETROIT, MI, September 27, referee Jeff Triplett. The Broncos defeated the Lions 24-12. Photo by Doug Pensinger, Getty Images. Far-fetched, I know, but in the world of men like the NFL owners who would faint if faced by a complex real-world system like the self-checkout at your grocery store, or even go into a grocery store for that matter, just having officials in the booth at a game to be able to instantly review a call the moment it's made and overturn the call if warranted would be mind-numbingly easy to institute. The problem is the insistence of the NFL owners to hold on to some antiquated, hard-line approach to the historical integrity of the game. For the owners, rules changes like this are akin to when the U.S. Polo Association considered changing the rules to allow the saddles on polo ponies to be not only Havana brown but also mahogany and burnt umber, colors often associated with the poor. Just a heads up for the owners, the game will be better and people will be more likely to watch the more effort is put into keeping up with the attitudes of the people doling out the $200 for a jersey displaying the name of their favorite player. Even though that $200 is pretty cheap compared to the $300 you'll spend on a neat dress shirt in Egyptian cotton, for the ones looking up at the castle, it's a bit more of a challenge. The NFL owners will have a chance to review their statements here leading up to the NFL owners meeting in Phoenix March 24 to 27. They'll take a lot of grief between now and then. There are sure to be plenty of tweets from the fans about how out of touch they are, as if that could possibly resonate. It's an easy fix, a relatively cheap fix. It could easily be instituted for the 2019 season. Most of the technology is already on hand in the broadcast booths at the various NFL stadiums around the country. It's just a matter of sitting down and actually talking about it. Next, keeping Ingram should be priority for Saints, and the owners will have a little extra time for talking about it this year, as the regularly scheduled post-brunch massage sessions have been cancelled due to lack of interest from the owners and their retained legal advisors. In place will be a symposium on how to correct the help when they meet your direct gaze.